The price of Bitcoin remains in the top zone of the symmetrical triangle following the publication of the minutes of the Fed. In this weekly chart, we can see that following a couple of weeks of bullish candlesticks, in the week starting March 28th, a doji candlestick was drawn, although due to its position, it is more like a hanging man candlestick. This is a sign of indecision and even bearishness. This week, for now, we're left with a bearish, full-bodied candlestick. With the deployed moving averages, we can see the importance of this zone. Between March 21st and 27th, it managed to close with a bullish full-bodied candlestick, surpassing the 20 and 50 period moving averages. The following week, we were left with a doji-like candle. It managed to test the resistance located between $48,000 and $49,000 approximately, touching $48,200. Last week, a downward movement was confirmed, testing the higher part of the macro range in which it was trapped for the previous weeks. In the daily time frame, after reaching the resistance between $48,000 and $49,000, which converges with 0.50 Fibonacci and the 200 period moving average, we can see two inverted hammer candlesticks at the end of the month, which in the higher part of this movement can have a negative connotation. After confirming this trend and lateralizing over the last few days, we can see a daily candlestick which crossed 0.61 Fibonacci with a strong downward movement. As we mentioned in our last analysis, the movement reversal has gone on to test the top part of the symmetrical triangle. With the moving averages in the daily time frame, we can see that the price has stopped its bearish movement in the higher part of the symmetrical triangle after having crossed the 20 period moving average. This is important. If it loses the $43,000 zone and enters the channel, this symmetrical triangle would be invalid and could go on to test the $42,000 zone approximately where the 50 and 100 period moving averages are. If we see candlesticks closing below the zone marked with a pink circle, it could go on to test the important support between $40,800 and $41,800. On the other hand, if the top part of the symmetrical triangle is maintained, we could see a pullback. If it were to occur, the $45,000 zone would be tested, looking to cross that resistance. In this structural chart, we can see how from Bitcoin's all-time high in the $69,000 zone, a downtrend is formed. On February 4th, that trend line is broken, leading to a bullish movement. If the price loses the higher part of the symmetrical triangle, we'd be left with a rising wedge structure where the lower and higher highs are found. In the SP 500 index, we can see a bearish movement which started at around 4,630 points. It lost the zone and is now testing the current support located at approximately 4,450 points. The Fear and Greed Index, which measures the overall sentiment in the market, has returned to the feeling of fear following a neutral week. In Bitcoin reserves, we see the withdrawal of the cryptocurrency from exchanges, which for now remains lateral. This indicates that holders continue to store their Bitcoins in cold wallets. But in order to see a continuation move to the upside, this outflow of Bitcoins from exchanges should continue. The Central Bank of the United States has published the minutes of its last meeting, which has affected traditional risk markets and consequently cryptocurrencies. The Fed will implement an aggressive approach to detain inflation over the coming months. In May, they will meet again and the monthly increase is expected to go from 0.25% to 0.5% in interest rates. In addition, it plans to accelerate the sale of bonds by $95 billion a month. This seeks to collect liquidity that allows attacking inflation. The consequences would lead to the reduction of $60 billion in Treasury bonds and $35 billion in mortgage-backed securities. As for the inflation forecast in the US, it stands at 8.3% for the month of March, and in the next weekly analysis, we will be able to see the forecast for the month of April, which will be released on the 12th. On a positive note, we see how MicroStrategy and Luna Foundation Guard, projects led by Michael Saylor and Do Kwon respectively, have increased their positions in Bitcoin. Saylor himself announced the purchase by his company of more than 4,100 Bitcoins, while the Luna Foundation Guard acquired 5,040 Bitcoins as part of its strategy to support its stablecoin, UST. Entrepreneur Kevin O'Leary, known as the Mr. Wonderful, takes a stance in favor of Bitcoin at Bitcoin Miami 2022. His predictions have always got repercussions, and this time he stated that there are millions of dollars to be implemented in cryptocurrency policies, in addition to placing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies within the SP 500. The Canadian predicts a great future for crypto assets, as he stated that cryptocurrencies can become one of the most important economic markets in the United States. In short, Bitcoin remains in the top part of the symmetrical triangle in a volatile and indecisive market, where the minutes of the Fed and the investment in Bitcoin of certain companies present a mixed scenario. This leads us to consider the different situations that we might come across in the medium term.